This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 138 of the Stable Scoop Radio Show, Helmet Cam Driving. Please support our sponsors as they make this show possible.
Our title sponsor is Omega Alpha. You can find them at omegaalpha.ca. This episode is also sponsored by Equestrian Collections at equestriancollections.com. Plus Uncle Jimmy's, and you can find them at uncle-jimmys.com. This is Glenn the Geek.
And this is Helena B. And you're listening to the Stable Scoop Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network.
I'll tell you what, Helena, I want to talk about two things this week.
Oh, boy.
I want to talk about jumping cows, and I want to talk about helmet cams on drivers doing wild and crazy marathon courses.
I am in love with this video. I can't wait to share it with all our listeners.
Oh, man. I'll tell you what. I have seen helmet cams on cross-country riders before doing Rolex and things like that, but I have never seen a helmet cam on a top-level competitive driver as they're doing the marathon course through all the obstacles. And a girl by the name of Jan Hamilton did just that, and her dad is the navigator. He's the guy, if you've never seen driving before, there's a guy that stands at the back of the carriage when they do their marathon course that actually shifts his weight and gets him through the obstacles. And also, he's the navigator. He says, turn left, turn right. You know, he makes sure that the driver doesn't get lost. Well, in this case, Jan's dad is the navigator, and her mom apparently drives too, but her name is actually Janet, but everybody calls her Jan.
Okay.
And she's from Florida. She's one of the real up-and-coming drivers in the driving world. And, you know, I don't know that we've talked about driving too much on Stable Scoop here, but, you know, I love driving. I'm a driver at heart. That's what I love to do. When I watched this video of her helmet cam, which just came out last week, I had goosebumps. I mean, it was so exciting. And so we got Jan and her dad to come on the show with us today. And I have so many questions for her, and we'll explain a little bit more about that later. But first, I have to talk to you about jumping cows. Did you see the video that's hitting Facebook and everywhere? I've gotten it about 15 times now, about the German girl who jumps her cow.
No, I have not. Again, it's the rock I'm living under.
Well, there's this video, and we'll post it on our show notes too, of this German girl put out by the AP did this video. The Associated Press did it. And apparently this girl, she looks like a, 15, 16-year-old. She was told by her parents who had cows that she wanted a horse, and they told her no. And she said, well, if I can't have a horse, I'm going to teach a cow to jump. So she actually taught the cow first to ride. Saddle, she rides it in the halter, steers with reins attached to the halter. Sort of like a hackamore. Yeah. And then she actually taught this cow to jump jumps.
Oh, my God.
The video is her jumping jumps with this cow. Now, I can't say that they would win any equitation awards, but the cow gets over about 2-foot fences.
Oh, my gosh. I'm in love. I just found a photo of her jumping a fence.
Yep.
A little vertical. Oh, my God. Oh, my heart is just swelling right out of my chest.
She said it took her 2 years to get to the point where the cow just wouldn't quit after riding for 2 minutes and say, the heck with this, I'm going home. And now the cow just seems to hang out and ride, and she can ride it. She said she rides it on trails and takes it everywhere.
Oh, wow.
There's a girl with determination. Damn it, if I can't have a horse.
Especially at 15 years old. God bless her. Really. Because I don't know many 15-year-olds. I don't know many adults with the kind of patience it would take to train a cow, let alone a teenager. And, see, anybody who ever tucks at tisk
what?
Anyone? All right. Back up, rewind.
Anyone that what?
Anybody that tisks at teenagers, say that 5 times fast, can just choke on their tisks like I did.
Well, and the other impressive thing about this video, she was wearing a helmet.
Yes.
Yeah, I give her credit. So we'll post that. If you haven't seen that video before, take a look at that. It's a fun little video, and go Go Holstein. I'm not even sure what kind it is.
No, me either. That was
one.
my next question. A brown horse.
It's a brown and white cow.
Oh, brown
Let me see if it says here what kind it is. Doesn't say. It's a cow. And her name is Luna.
I love the name.
Yeah.
I love the name.
Luna the show jumping cow. And then the other thing is, are you on Facebook at all? Right
Yes. Now that I am, yes.
Okay, go to the Horses in the Morning page, and if you know how my co-host and our friend Jamie, who does the morning show with us, her husband has a very cool job, and if you scroll down the page, you're going to see a picture of him at work. There are actually two pictures of him at work, and you're going to see it'll say, "Here's a picture of Jamie's husband at work." Mm-hmm. Yep, that's Chad. And if you click on the picture, you're going to see him in his office. Did you get it?
I'm looking at it.
Okay, you're looking at it?
Yep.
That's him in his office. They took they did some promotional shots. He is a F-16 fighter pilot, and there is a picture of him in his flying his F-16, dropping a missile. It looks like, and they also were flying in formation. So there's a couple pictures if you want to go over to Horses in the Morning on Facebook and take a look. That's just for all the horse husbands out there. It's really cool.
Yes, it's very cool.
I mean,
way
how many
cooler
people
than you,
have that
Glenn.
kind of job? I mean, I sit on a ball and talk in a mic.
Yeah, No promotional pictures for you.
No, I mean, they're not very exciting. They don't have any missiles coming out of any place, so.
At least not on purpose.
So I just thought that was really cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's a guy thing. I had to treat our horse husbands who listen. They can go over and take a look at that. What else, Steve? What else is going on? Pie's still out in the barn, or have you sold him?
Nope, he's still out in the barn.
You've been trying saddles.
Yes, the wonderful folks at World Equestrian Brands shipped me a saddle to try, a Vega, an Amerigo Vega. But unfortunately, they sent me a dressage saddle. Now, I got the saddle. I got the box yesterday. I opened it up, and I was just so excited to, try my test saddle, try it out. And of course, I pull it out of the box, and there are these huge, huge knee rolls. You wouldn't even call them knee rolls; they're blocks. So I thought, well, gee, they must really think I'm a bad rider. They shipped me a saddle with the biggest
They want you to
blocks they could
stick.
find. And so, of course, I pull the rest of the saddle out. I totally uncover it, and I realize it's a dressage
You realize
saddle.
the flaps are a little long, too?
And I'll tell you something. I looked at this saddle. I held it in my hands, and I seriously thought about giving up jumping for dressage for like 2 seconds. I said, I can ride dressage. If it means I get to sit in this saddle, I can ride dressage. Oh, my gosh, it's beautiful.
Really? Did you just want to pet it? Did you pet it?
I wanted to lick it. I did. It was just so gorgeous. Really, really well made.
Did you try it?
I didn't, because I didn't want to risk getting it dirty and Mr. Crazy Pants. And
Wasn't it a trial saddle?
It is, but it's, their trial saddles are wrapped in bubble wrap and,
Oh, okay.
layers of cotton and blankets and stuff. I just know I was too afraid. I mean, I feel bad going to my local tack shop and getting their demo saddles, but you're all beaten and scratched. And so, no, I just put it in the box, and it's going back, and they're going to ship me my jumping saddle.
Okay, cool. You can pet that one, too.
I can pet that. Oh, my God. I'm going to lick that one.
Did you tell her to not put quite as big a rolls that you actually do know how to ride a little bit?
I do know how to ride just a little bit. And then I have the Steuben lady who's coming on Wednesday.
Oh, you got a wide variety of European.
Well, I figured this. If I'm going to go for my lungs, if I'm going to take out a home equity loan to buy a new saddle, I might as well look at some of those other brands that I discounted earlier because, they were too pricey. So I went back to the Steuben, whose Biomech seat I love. And they're going to bring me 2 models, the Roxanne and the Genesis.
Look at you go.
Yeah, I know. I am no professional rider, but I think at this point I consider myself a professional saddle shopper.
Yeah, you've done it for a long time.
Oh.
Is this new purchase horse husband approved? By the way, I have to man up for my fellow horse husband.
My husband is like pushing me into the saddle shop, because if I don't get a saddle that fits this horse, I'm not going to stop complaining about having to sell him or him being ornery or crazy or the saddle doesn't fit, because it'll shut me up. He'll do anything to shut me up.
Does this mean the family doesn't eat for a couple months, or
pretty much? Yeah. It'll be beans and rice.
So what's Peter have to give up so you can get a saddle?
An oven.
He wanted a new oven.
We still have no oven.
You have no oven?
We have no oven.
The guy cooks for a living.
I know we have no oven, but I have a barn, and I'm going
Guess
for my
he doesn't bake much, huh?
How's that for horse addicted people? We have no oven, but I got a barn, and I'm getting a new
Jeez, woman, give the guy a break.
Hey,
do you have a toaster oven?
No, we have a microwave. We have a microwave and a toaster. I know, and a grill.
He doesn't make many cakes or breads, does he?
No, and it's killing him. But you know what? We could go out and get an oven tomorrow. But he doesn't want to get an oven because we have to knock out a wall in our kitchen so that we could put in an island and get the kind of oven
thing.
we really want.
It's like any other home project. You just could get an oven and put it someplace, but that's not. But you got to put it in the right spot, and the right spot requires this, which requires that, and then when you tear it out, you're going to discover the wiring shot. And,
especially in a 250-year-old house.
Yeah, nothing's going to be right.
Right. So we did take out a home equity loan last fall to pay for the barn. But unfortunately, the banks everywhere have decided to just drag their feet. So we actually didn't get our loan, the home equity loan, until the end of the year. So I had already paid for the barn. Turned a couple of tricks for that. So we already paid for the barn, so now we have this home equity loan just sitting there waiting to be used. So we're like, well, we'll use it for the kitchen. But that's taking its sweet time, so I figured I might as well use it for myself. They didn't give us very much money, but whatever. We didn't ask for that much. We just figured, well, we'll use it to pay off a couple
extra.
You
were going to need a new kitchen and a saddle.
Oh, man. Yeah, so that's our story.
Well, let's take a break for our title sponsor here today. We actually had her on, Patty, who is from Omega Alpha, our friends up there, and we had her on the Horses in the Morning show for a couple of minutes. She called in to tell everybody, the listeners, about what Omega Alpha is up to this month. They're going to be in a whole bunch of different places, and they want you to stop by and see them. So let's take a listen to that from the morning show, and we'll be back with Jan Hamilton, driver extraordinaire. We have on the line with us from our title sponsor today, Omega Alpha, we have Patty on the phone. Hi, Patty.
How you doing?
All right. How are you?
Pretty good. I was catching the end part of Jamie stalking Matthew McConaughey. I'm going to have to go back and listen to that now.
Patty, please don't pull your sponsorship. Dear God, we need the money.
No, I was going to give you a list of who I'd like you to stalk.
Oh, who would you like me to find, Patty? Because by God, I'll find them. I'll canoe, Pat. I don't even like water, okay? And I canoed down a freaking lake to find this guy, okay? So it can be done. I will find him, whoever he is.
I'll make a list.
Sounds good.
Speaking of stalking, Patty, we're going to be stalking you at Equine Affair in Ohio this week. You guys are heading out there with Omega Alpha, right?
Well, Sue Schroeder from our U.S. division is going to be down handling that show. April is turning into the insane month. So, it's getting a little crazy. But Sue will be at, apparently it's the Bricker Building, and we have booth 905, so we would love to have people come out and visit and get some product knowledge and, product info, and we've even got some coupons, which is really nice, that they can probably redeem right there at some of our retailers.
Glenn, give me some coupons, Glenn. I need coupons.
Okay. All right, I'll get you some coupons. So that's the Bricker Building, 905. Jennifer and I are actually going out Friday and Saturday. We're going to spend the day out there, so we'll be sure to stop by and say hello to them.
That would be great because, they'd love to see you, and this is the first time we've had a chance to do that show. So come one, come all, and come and visit and come see what we can do. Some of the other things that we're doing for the rest of this month is we're also working with, this is up here in Campbellville area, is a John Lyons clinic. So that's going to be kind of fun because that puts a different hat on because we're so used to dealing a lot with the English disciplines. So this guy is America's Horseman, and he does a lot in the Western disciplines. So I'm very looking forward to that one. And then right after that, I think we have at the same time the Midwest Horse Fair, and then there's Rolex. So it's just one thing. It just rolls one into the other. So it's going to be busy, but it's going to be fun.
So you guys are going to be down at Rolex?
Yes, I have 2 full booths because one of them is at the main pavilion there for where the eventing is, and then there's another event going on. It's raining, and it's right at the same time, and it's up in the new pavilion where they put in just for all the raining disciplines. Remember when WEG was on?
Yep.
So we've got a booth up in there too, and then I believe that we're doing a satellite booth in with a bit of Britain. So it's going to be crazy, and I'm looking for anybody who wants to come and work the booth too. I'm out trying to find some local people from maybe Kentucky that will come and help us out and work there, and I'll make sure that I give them cross-country day off.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what everybody cares about.
That's how you get people to work in your booth.
Yeah. Please, come help us. You'll learn a lot, I guarantee it.
Well, we'll be there, of course. We're going to be doing the morning show live all Thursday through Sunday. Mm-hmm. We'll be live there, and Chris will be doing the eventing radio show in the evening every night. So we'll be sure to stop by and say hi to you there at Rolex as well.
Yeah, Dr. Chang will be there, so that's good. So he's one person I can still coerce into working there.
He has to do what you say.
Pretty much. He's good at that. Yeah, his wife has him trained very, very well.
Well, we're talking to Patty from Omega Alpha, and of course you can find all of their products at omegaalpha.ca. Well, we're back, and we have our guests on with us today, and I'm very excited. I don't know how excited Helena gets about driving, but Helena knows how excited I get about driving.
You know what? I don't know enough about driving. I'm hoping to learn a little bit today. It scares me, quite honestly.
My wife won't ride with me in the cart because she's scared to death. She'll jump over huge jumps, but she will not ride in the cart with me.
I don't blame her. I wouldn't get in a car with you. I wouldn't walk down the street with you.
Well, and of course we talked about earlier in the show, and you watched it, the amazing helmet cam video that was done down at the Live Oak event a couple weeks ago down at Chester Weber's place in Ocala, Florida. And we have the driver of that rig on with us today. She's one of the youngest upcoming stars in the driving world, and that is Jan Hamilton. Hi, Jan. How are you doing?
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
It's so exciting to talk to you, and I have 1,000 questions for you, so you're going to have to forgive me because we both have ADD very bad, and we're going to be going all over the place here, and you're just going to have to try and keep up, okay, Jan?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, but you had the fastest score. This is a major league FEI event. You're driving a single horse, and you had the fastest score in the marathon the other day. Of all the rigs there, that's pretty good there, girl.
Thanks. It was I was actually kind of surprised when I finished. I'm pretty critical of myself. So when you saw only parts of the helmet cam video, but at the end of the real version that they didn't edit, I'm kind of talking to my navigator. I'm like, I don't know what happened there. It kind of didn't go that well. I don't know why we hit so many things. And then I checked the scores, and we apparently did pretty well. So
yeah, pretty well.
I don't really. Yeah.
Let's start. Let's back up a little bit. Hold that thought, Helena. Let's back up a little bit, and you come from a driving family, right?
Well, we got into driving when my mom wanted to drive a pair of horses down the road, and then we went to a show and started learning about it, and then we just decided to get into it, and we've been driving for about 5 years now.
So you started when you were like 11 years old?
About.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of neat that you guys were pleasure drivers first, and then got into the competition thing.
Oh, we weren't pleasure drivers. I mean, we were pleasure drivers, but we weren't showing as pleasure drivers. We were just. Right, yeah.
No, you were just pleasure driving. So
pleasure driving, yes.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
For fun. You were just driving for fun.
Yeah, there you go.
That's okay. Don't worry, Jan. I have to have him clarify everything too. Now, so tell us a little bit about the horse who was your partner here in crime. Is it a Morgan?
He's a Morgan horse, and we bought him when he was 2 from the Amish, and he's 9, so we've had him for 7 years now, and we basically, they say when you buy a horse from the Amish, they're green broke, which means nothing. They have had nothing done to them.
Exactly.
And he's just come such a long way, and we've worked with a couple different trainers, and but it's difficult to just pick and choose the information that you actually apply to what you're training. So he's come a long way, especially because it was a green horse and green driver.
Now, how do you train him? I mean, do you have enough land where you are that you how do you practice? How do you train for an event like the one we saw through your helmet cam?
Well, the horse, they're at that level, they're more athletes than they are pets, so they have to be very fit. And my parents run a marina, and we have the boats in the front and the horses in the back. And I drive around our 13 acres, and we have a dressage ring, an FEI width dressage ring, and a cones course set up, and one hazard, actually 2 hazards now that we can drive around. And I do probably 1 day a week of just cardio, just trotting, and get a really good trot going. And then the rest I do 30-meter circles of collection to lengthen to canter to halt, and that's what we do.
Okay, hold on a second. Helena, she's 16 years old. She's talking about training for collection and cantering, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, I mean that's a really nice program. I mean it doesn't sound much different than a riding training program. Which is really kind of cool because it's the same kind of physical fitness you're talking about, right, Jan? The horse needs to be physically fit to do these things.
We had a dressage trainer here this morning who lives down the road and says he got a lesson.
Wow. Now let's bring your dad into this. We have Bus on the line here too. Hi, Dad.
Hi there. Good morning.
Did you ever think 5 years ago that you guys would become this horse fanatic, crazy competition family?
No, I didn't. It really has evolved into this competitive team. That we really have a family team, and this is really the fun part of it. My wife drives. Of course, Jan's driving. I'm navigating for my wife. Jan has a very good navigator. His name is Ron Barnett. He's also a farrier, which is a handy guy to have on our team.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, we're the only ones I've ever met that sort of attack these competitions like we do. We all strategize about how we're going to drive the hazards, think of every possible option, and look at the course, and then we put our heads together. Even though the 2 girls, my daughter and my wife, are competing against each other. So we've always said, we don't care who wins. We're just hoping that they're both going to do well, and we do the best we can.
And that's a dynamic that is amazing. You guys actually competed against each other at the Live Oak event, didn't you?
Yes, we've competed at the same level all the way through. We were at training level 1 year, prelim 1 year, intermediate 2 years, and now we've just moved to this FEI level, which is a big challenge. But the reason we wanted to stay together, Jan was probably more qualified to move up quicker than Nifty was, but we stayed together so that we could strategize together, because if you're driving 2 different one's driving intermediate, one's driving advanced, is a different strategy to how you're going to drive things. So
that makes sense.
And we like to we spend a lot of time trying to figure it out the best we can. And
well, that's half the fun.
It is. It is. It's great fun.
That's like, it's like solving a puzzle. It's like doing a puzzle together. Some people sit around the fire and do a puzzle, and you guys sit around together and strategize on your courses.
Yeah, and it really is fun. And the one thing about driving that's I was into saddle horses when I was a child with my family, and everybody helps each other in this driving sport, which is so refreshing. Everybody who's competing against everybody shows each other their routes, and they're very open about helping each other, even though you're competing against this person. That's a really wonderful aspect of the sport.
Well, and you probably you see that whether it's driving events like you guys do or the eventers, the riding eventers, it seems to be that way. And I think partly it's because you got to know dressage, you got to be able to do the fast and crazy marathon course, and then be able to do the precision of cones. It's, you got to know how to do everything. You're not just focusing on one thing. You guys have to know how to do everything. And I got to say, Bus, there aren't too many dads who want to drive in a car with their 16-year-old, let alone going 150 miles an hour with a horse through an obstacle course.
Yeah. Well, I'd be a little scared to be on the back of her carriage. I'm more comfortable in my wife's carriage. But when we go in the... I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Keep going.
We go off in the summer typically for last summer we did 6,000 miles, and we go and compete in Canada, and it's just wonderful fun by traveling and training together and trying to find good hay and all the things that go with it, and so that's really the wonderful part about what we're doing.
Well, now, when Jan was little, did you know that, or did you have any idea that she would be such a serious competitor? I mean, were there things in her personality and the activities that she was doing that made you think, wonder what this kid's going to turn out to be? I think she's really got something here.
Well, she's always been good at whatever she does. She works hard at it, and she likes to be good like everybody does, and she seems to have the talent to move forward. She wanted to be an eventer originally, and we were more interested in the driving, and eventually she came around to see that we can't do everything, so she got interested in driving, and she's really done well, so we're lucky.
How did you guys do last weekend?
Nifty. My wife was third, and Jan ended up in fifth. She had some problems in the dressage, and but we're working on fixing those things.
Well, that's great. Your dad talks about how there's the camaraderie and everything, Jan, but I bet you love to beat your mom at times, don't you?
Oh, we do, yeah. There's no doubt about it. And she loves to beat me. And the funny thing is that my dad is more competitive than the both of us put together. We're just totally okay with going along, going with the flow, and just doing the best we can do, and making sure our horses are feeling good and doing great. And Dad's like, yeah, we have to beat them, and he's so competitive. Really
that sounds like a good team. He's the coach. He sounds like a real the driving force behind the competitive part of this family. That's pretty cool.
You thought the horse was pulling that carriage? He's pushing it from back there.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I have a question for you, Jan. In watching the helmet cam video, obviously we can hear a lot of the cues, the voice cues that you're giving your horse. What was there? It sounded like you're saying hep, hep, hep. What are those cues that you give them when you're on course?
For some reason, I had to talk a lot, and that normally it's pretty quiet, but I say hup, and it's kind of like a reassuring forward motion.
Okay.
And sometimes they say easy and steady, and that lets them know that we need to slow down, or something's coming up that he needs to get ready for, like a quick turn or a downward transition. But that hup, on that course, there were a lot of open spots where he could just freely gallop, and so I was just reassuring him and telling him he could go fast.
Well,
I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it. And his ears were like, tuned back, listening to what you were saying. It was really, I've never seen that kind of communication between horse and driver, or even horse and rider, so clear. It was like you were telling him, and you were reinforcing it. It was definitely a supportive, positive voice communication, and it looked to me, I mean, from my uneducated eye, it looked to me like he was receiving it exactly the way you intended it.
Definitely.
Do you
Every
feel
time
like he was
something, I can see his little ear come back and listen, and he definitely responds to my voice. I tell him good boy a lot, and he absolutely loves it. And the really important thing about the sport, and I think the main reason why he's good at it, is because he likes it. And it's so important to have a horse that likes what he's doing. He's very happy, and he just lives for Marathon Day. He at the start gate, which it's not like a racehorse start gate. It's just a red marker on the right and a white marker on the left, and a timer there counting you down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And he just cannot wait to go. He's just like rearing, and which is a very bad thing.
Yeah, that's not too good in the cart.
But you're taking it in the context. You're taking it in that good context.
Right. Don't get me wrong. It's a thing that we need to fix. But he really does love it.
Which is exactly why my wife won't drive with me. So Jan, I have so many questions here, and you one of the questions that came up when we were watching this video, and I got the pleasure, because we did the World Equestrian Games radio show. We were at the World Equestrian Games every day. We got to watch all the driving competition, and I've seen many times before, Fairhill and different places. When you get to the FEI level like you guys are at, and you come into these gate areas, you come into the obstacle, which will have so many different gates, and you're going in and around. People who haven't seen it have to watch the video, and we're going to put it in our show notes. After we get back from this break here, this commercial, I really want you to tell me how the heck you remember all of that for the marathon course, and how you remember which gates to go through, and you don't get lost. I would be a wreck. So we're going to get to that right after this. Regular listeners to the Stable Scoop Show know that Helena and I just love Uncle Jimmy's and his fantastic line of products. His products have the highest quality ingredients, and that is why they have taken off like they have. Of course, it all started with Uncle Jimmy's hanging balls for use in the stalls, and then came squeezy buns. We know you need to reward your horse outside of the stall as well. That is why Uncle Jimmy developed Uncle Jimmy's squeezy buns. Squeezy buns are all natural and loaded with nutritional ingredients for your horse. Unlike similar products on the market, they are individually wrapped to preserve freshness and eliminate mess. With competitive pricing and Uncle Jimmy's quality guarantee, the Squeezy Buns promise to be a hit among horses and horse lovers alike. Learn more about all of Uncle Jimmy's products or to find a dealer, visit uncle-jimmys.com. That's uncle-jimmys.com. And we're back, and we're here with Jan and her dad, Bus, and they're the driving family. Mom, Nifty, drives also, and at the end of this conversation, I'm going to find out how you all got your nicknames and totally embarrass you. But first, it is very complicated. How many obstacles will there be in an FEI marathon course?
Normally 8, and there's you have 3 sections. You have the A section, where it's just a trot, normally like a 5 or 6 kilometer trot out. And then you have section B, which is a 1 kilometer walk that you have to walk very quickly in to make your time. And then you have section E, which is the obstacle section. And the obstacle section, there's probably 8 kilometers and 8 or 9 kilometers and an obstacle every kilometer.
Okay, so you have 8 different obstacles, and in those obstacles, you have to turn and twist and go through a number of different gates, so to speak, right?
Right.
Okay.
You have, at the FEI level, you have gates A through E that you have to go through in the right order, and you can't go through them backwards before you go through them forwards, and you have to pick out the correct route for you, for your horse, a route that you're comfortable with, a route that your horse will be able to do easily and quickly and smoothly.
And that all sounds easy the way you say it, but when you watch this helmet cam video, you go, my God, how do these people not get lost? And that's my question. How do you remember it?
Do you go through the course first?
Yeah. We normally get to a show on the Wednesday before the weekend, and so you have your trot out, and then you have your vet check, and then you have your dressage, and you have a day. You have Friday free because normally, and then on Saturday is your marathon. So you have a lot of time to walk your hazards in between all that stuff that's going on, but it never seems like enough time. And but somehow we get it done. I always feel pretty confident going into my marathon. You always walk it with your navigator. My navigator's Ron, and my mom's navigator is my dad. And if you get lost, they're always there to help you. The way I think about it is if you do need them to help you, it's too late.
You're going so fast.
Right.
Yeah. But actually, in the helmet cam, I hit something and I totally missed my next turn, and I just kind of chose a different path. I took a left loop instead of the path I was planning on taking, and it ended up okay. But you just have to know the hazards well enough so that you can get to the next gate no matter where you end up.
Bus, now, your job, to explain what the job of the navigator is, and by the way, the navigator is the crazy person that's on the back of the carriage that looks like they're going to fall off at any minute. That's that person.
Hopefully they're not. But that's a big penalty if you fall off. In any case, what we do, just to talk a little bit more about what Jan was saying about learning the obstacles, you have to know the obstacles really, really well. I mean, you have to be able to close your eyes and go through that hazard or an obstacle. They call them obstacles now. They used to call them hazards. And go through that in your mind, because if you don't know it well enough, first of all, as a navigator, you have to be proactive in what you're doing. You can't wait or figure out which way she's going to go. You got to know which way she's going to go. So you're in position, because you could very quickly turn over, and that's certainly, we don't want to do anything like that. And I want to be right on top of where she's going. Now, if she makes a mistake or misses a turn, both the navigator and the driver need to know the obstacle well enough that she can correct herself without going through a gate backwards or in the wrong sequence, because that's a big penalty for that. The one thing about this sport is you have to know the rules pretty well, because you can very quickly make a mistake that costs you the whole event in 1 second by somebody stepping off the carriage at the wrong time. There's just so many rules to know. So we walk those obstacles and walk them, and I'm the worst one at learning. I have to walk them more than anybody else. But Jan picks them up pretty quickly. But it's actually, for instance, at Live Oak, we were driving seven obstacles, and it's A through F gate. So there's 6 gates in each obstacle. So that's 42 gates you got to remember.
Wow.
Along with, and you've got a couple days to learn it. Now, the young people seem to be able to do it pretty quickly, but it's a challenge for me.
I'd be snookered.
One of the things that Ron came up with that we have done from time to time is go out and walk them in the middle of the dark at night. You go walk them in the dark. If you know where the gates are in the dark, you know where they are.
Wow, that's a...
Wow.
So
now that does sound like fun, though. You know, like coming up with these strategies and these challenges. It's like a scavenger hunt or a treasure hunt, and very satisfying too when you come up with these. Not just completing the course and succeeding that way, but coming up with solutions to problems of this particular sport.
Yeah, one horse turns better to the right than the left, and my wife's horse is better in a longer route where he can go faster, and he doesn't have you don't have a quick rein changes sort of. He does better if you can keep him on the same rein and keep him going fast, even in a longer route. So all this works into the route that you pick, and And then you watch and you all of a sudden at the last minute you see something that none of us saw. For 2 days of looking at this hazard, or one of your friends maybe is doing it a different way and gives you another idea. So it is quite a challenge.
And you're right when you talk about walking those hazards. I walked them with one of the grooms for one of the drivers at the World Equestrian Games, and we were out there on course, and everybody was walking at the same time. And I was amazed at the drivers and navigators, the teams basically that were helping each other, talking about how they were going to do it through there. And you don't see that too often in competitive sport like this.
I've never seen it in any other competitive sport where people were so open about what they plan to do and honestly want to help people, their competition to do better. And that's just a wonderful aspect of the sport. That's really fun.
So Jan,
and the girls have to walk.
Go ahead.
The girls have to learn the cones course as well, which
right.
is pretty challenging. They don't have a lot of time to do that, and there's usually 20 gates.
Not to mention a dressage test.
So. Yeah, not to mention the dressage test, where you've been practicing it for like 6 months. Now that I'm at this level, I mean, it's the same test forever, right? So I've been practicing it for a year now, and you still drive into the ring, and there's 5 European judges and a crowd, and you just totally forget where your canter circle is. So that's pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, dressage has always been the bane for eventers, and it sounds like it's the same for drivers. It's like get through dressage day so we can do the fun stuff.
Yeah, but the dressage is the basis for all of it.
No, now, just in driving as much as regular eventing, it's the most important phase because you can win on your dressage score. So it is an important phase of it. Jan, so when do you move up? When are you going to be competing with Chester Weber at a World Equestrian Games with the four in hand?
I am barely surviving with one horse. I don't know how he handles four. I'd love to learn, but I think I'm overwhelmed as it is.
By the way, Live Oak, and this video showed that, is one of the most beautiful places ever, huh?
Oh, God. I wanted to ride through that course. It looked like so much fun.
It's absolutely gorgeous. He has one of the nicest facilities. I'd say the nicest facility in North America, and it's so wonderful and very gracious of him for him to open it up to the competition every year and allow us just to camp out on his property, never mind compete there.
Now, will you guys be coming to Kentucky at all this year?
I have school, which gets in the way of everything.
Oh, that darn high school thing.
So probably not. We will compete in Metamora, Michigan this summer, so we will probably pass through Kentucky on the way up there.
Okay.
But I don't think we'll be competing there this year.
All right, good. Well, we were plain running out of time. Helena, is there anything else that this has gone by so quickly? It's like
I know. I would like to add. Do you have a website or a Facebook page or a blog or something where we can follow you? Because I'm smitten with your career here. I think you have such a nice, well-rounded grasp on your life as a driver, and I would love to follow your adventures.
Oh, thank you very much. I don't have any. I have my personal Facebook page but
yeah, we don't want to put that out.
I have a place where you can follow me, really.
Well, that's an idea for you.
We're going to fix that here because we're going to keep, if you don't mind, we're going to keep in touch with you as you come up to competitions and things, and we're going to have you on more often, and we're going to follow you.
That sounds great. Thanks, guys. It means a lot.
Well, no, we'll definitely do that. And you do need to get yourself a little blog or something going because I think people are going to be interested. You guys, what a great family. And now we're going to end with finding out, okay, so Dad's name is Bust, like the vehicle that you drive school kids in. How did you come up with that nickname, or who called you that first?
My parents, when I was a little kid, my dad had the same nickname.
Really?
I think it came out of Buster. That his mother gave him, but I actually never had that confirmed. But
Because your real name's
wife-
Milt or Milton, right? And the bus is
Milton,
not even
right.
close. Yeah.
no, it isn't. It isn't even related. But
All
that's
right.
a hard one to answer.
Then you're married to a woman with the nickname of Nifty, which are we allowed to say on the air how she got that name?
Yeah,
Okay,
Jennifer.
just checking.
Her name is Jennifer.
Okay.
And Nif came out of Jennifer, and that's from when she was just a little tiny kid from her family. And she's one out of 9 kids. And that's how that happened.
All right.
Jan.
I like that. I like that a lot. Nifty. That's awesome.
Jan is her real name is Janet Ann.
Oh, that kind of works then.
Oh, that's so pretty. You know what? I feel a reality show coming on here. Just around the names.
Yeah, well,
the
people remember us because of our names. That's for sure.
Somebody call up Bravo. Let them know about the Hamiltons.
Well, this is terrific. You guys are so
All right.
much fun. Thank you for being on with us. We really appreciate it. And as we said, we're going to be keeping an eye on Jan. And as you go into more competitions, maybe what we can do is have you on like before your next big competition up there in Michigan. We'll have you on the week before, and then we'll talk to you after as well.
Great.
Sounds great. Thanks
All
for
right.
having us.
All right. Thanks, guys. That was fun. What a delightful, what a cool family.
I know. I wish my family was like that.
Yeah. Yeah, not too many people have a whole family they can do their passion with.
And they're good at it, too. It's not like they're a family full of losers.
No, that's for sure.
They're all like wicked successful at what they do. That's fabulous.
But I just love calling her Jan. I think that's cool, too.
I know.
And
Did anybody ever call you Glenn?
no, Glenny Glenn was what Samantha called me on the 2010 show for 2 years.
Well, yeah, I call Grace Gracie Grace
Do you?
sometimes. Yeah, Gracie Grace. Yeah.
Yeah, I called her Sammy Sam, and she called me Glenny Glenn.
Glenny Glenn. Okay.
And
And
then-
then we have Jan and her
Yes.
dad.
And her dad, yeah. And everybody take a look at the video. You can go to Facebook or to our website at stablescoop.com, and we'll put the video there in our show notes for this episode so you can watch that video. The other thing that's amazing that we talked about, in this interview was how beautiful Chester Weber's place is where the show is at. Oh,
God,
it's
I wanted to ride
unbelievable.
through it. I mean,
I know.
I would
I know.
never, ever have the nerve to
Well-
sit behind a horse.
What we didn't talk about was that Chester Weber's place is 4,500 acres in Ocala.
God.
It's 7.5 square miles.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. His mother is a direct descendant of the Campbell soup fortune.
I didn't know that.
And she's worth, it was just published actually recently, she's worth $1.2 billion. So they have to be one of the top 10 landholders in all of Florida next to Disney.
Wow.
4,500 acres in Ocala is huge.
Anywhere, 4,500 acres
It
is
takes
huge.
you almost 25 minutes to drive on the roads around their property.
That's awesome. Oh, please don't ever sell it.
My brother lives 2 miles from there. So they went over to that competition and watched and actually saw Jan go. So he had a blast going to that drive. He thought it was great fun. So isn't that cool? Well, let's
That's
take a
very-
break, and then we're going to be back to talk about some other cool things. It is all about color this spring at Equestrian Collections. That's right, fun colors are all the trend in the spring equestrian apparel lines, with pinks, blues, and teals leading the way. Lots of colors and coordinates with leading manufacturers like Iridian, Carrots, Ariat, and Equine Couture, to just name a few. You can find thousands of options for your spring riding wardrobe or casual wardrobe at equestriancollections.com. And don't forget to use the coupon code HORSERADIO, that's Horse Radio, all one word, in the coupon code section when you check out, and you'll get $10 off your next order of $120 or more at equestriancollections.com. Well, we're back. We have some fun shows coming up, and also don't forget about Tack and Habit. Our Tack and Habit show over there, where we talked about. We had a really cool thing you talked about this week with a rescue agency that we highlighted, and just some really neat stuff that we're doing over there. We have fans writing to us now we have fans in other parts of the world for Tack and Habit.
We do, yeah.
Guy fans.
Guy fans,
We
yes.
got emails from guys who listen, and I was like, that would be a good show for them to listen to, because it's kind of it's almost PG-13, And, we take it a little bit more to the limit with that show.
Yes,
And
we do.
it's fun and it's just entertaining. And I can see why horse husbands or horse guys would like that show.
Yes, and it's exactly, and they're interested in stuff. I mean, guys like to shop, don't they?
Yeah.
Do
Or
you
they
like to
like to
shop?
be aware of what their wives are buying, one or the other.
Well, yeah, that's true.
It's one of the
Not
other.
mine. Mine doesn't want to know.
No.
Ignorance is bliss, he says.
Yeah, well, and probably rightly so. I
Yeah.
know you well enough to know that that it wouldn't matter. So
No.
he's probably just better off not knowing.
I just think it's kind of funny to pretend like it matters. It does.
I think the audience pretty well knows you by now. too, Melina.
I hope so.
And so we just have some cool shows coming up here, and you want to stay tuned every week to stablescoop.com. That's where we have our show notes, and we're going to put both of the videos, the cow jumping and the helmet cam driving with Jan and Dad.
Yeah, you got to watch that video. It's awesome.
And you can
It's beyond awesome.
follow us on Facebook. Just go to stablescoop.com. And we would love for you to follow us there. And we thank all of our sponsors. Without our sponsors, we couldn't do these shows. And I think we determined that you're not coming down for Rolex this year, right?
Unfortunately, I am not coming down from Rolex.
And we're going to wanted to do a little promotion, the Rolex 3-day event here in Kentucky at the end of April. We're going to be doing live Horses in the Morning shows every morning, Thursday through Sunday. We have 4 special episodes live from Rolex. We'll be doing the fun, silly stuff, the fun, silly side of Rolex. And then Chris will be doing the eventing radio show every evening live. So you'll be able to get 3 hours of programming from the Horse Radio Network alone about Rolex every day during Rolex, all 4 days. So you're going to – and by the way, yes, a 3-day event lasts 4 days. That's the way it works.
Yeah, there's the jog.
Well, no, actually, there's 2 days of dressage.
Oh, really?
2 days of dressage, 1 day of cross country, and then a day of show jumping. So,
Why does dressage need 2 days?
Because the tests are longer, so it takes a while to get through them all, and that's why. And they won't run 2 arenas at a big event like that because they pack the stadium. So
Oh, yeah, okay.
so that
right.
it's all about selling tickets.
Did they do 2 days of dressage last year?
Yes. Yep. It's 2 days of
Okay.
dressage every year. And also, NBC Sports is going to feature a live telecast of some of the Rolex, I think, on Sunday for the show jumping finals.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to feature, it's going to be live on NBC from 2 to 3 o'clock Eastern Time.
Live on NBC. Okay.
Yep. So you'll be able to see the finals that day as well. So that's kind of cool, too.
That's very cool. Anytime we get horse sports on mainstream TV, I'm happy.
Yep. And of course, you can get, you get the rest of your coverage about Rolex from us.
Hey.
All right, Helena, I think that's, I'm about out of steam.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That is.
Thank you to our title sponsor, Omega Alpha. Thank you to Uncle Jimmy's and Equestrian Collections. And I think that's it for this week, Helena.
That is, and it's plenty, but we will be back next week with a whole lot more.